When the woman in the neon orange HOA security vest scraped her keys across the hood of my cherry red Porsche 911 and flipped me off through my ring cam, she made two fatal miscalculations. First, she assumed I wouldn't be home. Second, she had no idea I used to be an FBI forensic audio tech. She was half right. Let me introduce myself. I'm Ethan Crawley, a 44-year-old systems engineer. Quiet guy. I work remotely, collect rare vinyl, and spend weekends restoring my Porsche. I moved to Brookpine Hollow for its peace, the kind of planned community with matching mailboxes and HOA newsletters printed in Comic Sans. For a while, life was perfect, until I met her. Enter Margaret Thorndale, 58, bleach blonde with stubborn dark roots, and drunk on the tiny dose of power an HOA can give. She wasn't a cop, but you'd think otherwise. A radar gun, a clipboard, and the ego of a mall security guard promoted to food court commander. She wore that neon vest like a badge of honor, cruising in her golf cart as if she were defending national security. My offense? Backing into my own driveway. According to Margaret, this violated the uniform front-facing parking aesthetic of Brookpine Hollow. One Saturday, as I washed my Porsche, she strutted up. "This isn't some fancy car show, Mr. Crawley," she sneered. "We have standards here, front-facing only." I tried explaining that backing in was safer, but she cut me off with a wave of her clipboard. "Rules are rules," she said smugly. "Consider this your first warning." And just like that, war began. At first, it was petty. Citations for hubcap glare. Anonymous noise complaints every time I played Coltrane at noon. A cease and desist about engine roaring when I'd merely started the car to go grocery shopping. Margaret escalated to full-on surveillance, parking her golf cart across the street, scribbling in a notebook labeled Crawley Watch. Sprinklers triggered mysteriously at 3 a.m. for a week. A post-it appeared on my windshield. "This isn't Monaco. Tone it down. Smell you?" Soon, she mailed a grainy photo of my Porsche to every neighbor, accusing me of being a sound polluter. My sweet neighbor Doris actually asked if I was running an underground racing ring. The smear campaign worked. Whispers spread like wildfire. Then came the HOA meeting. Margaret, trembling with self-righteous rage, announced, "Mr. Crawley thinks he's above our standards. His car is a menace." She even proposed a special assessment fee for sports car owners, calling it the Excessive Vehicle Noise Prevention Fund. The board shifted uncomfortably, but stayed silent.
Still, Margaret wasn't satisfied. One night, after our grab tacos downtown, my ring cam caught her slinking onto my property in flip-flops in that ridiculous vest. She hissed, "This is my neighborhood. Time to teach this punk some respect." Then she dragged her keys across my Porsche's hood, carving the words, "Too loud," in jagged letters. She smashed my mirror with one of my own garden gnomes and posed dramatically with a toy radar gun like she was starring in an HOA action flick. She even narrated, "Margaret Thorndale, defender of suburban peace, taking down the noise terrorist." What she didn't know was that my garage and driveway were wired with FBI-grade audio gear. Every muttered word, every scrape, every unhinged confession captured in crystal clarity, including her whisper about how acoustic dominance made her feel sexually powerful. Yes, she said that. The next morning, I found the damage. Instead of rage, I smiled. She just handed me her own noose. For 3 days, I compiled evidence, a 14-minute highlight reel of Margaret's greatest hits, enhanced audio isolating her voice, timestamps, metadata, the works. I dropped it anonymously into the HOA board's inbox. Subject line, "Security imposter just confessed to a felony." By the next day, Her HOA access card was revoked. 2 board members resigned. The president, Gerald, a nervous man with clammy hands, personally begged me not to sue. He swore Margaret had acted alone. Sure, Gerald. Then the cops came. I watched as they knocked on Margaret's door. She answered proudly in her vest, expecting praise. Her smile collapsed when they asked her to step outside. "But I'm the chief compliance officer," she protested, waving her clipboard like it was a shield. I turned over the original footage, Post-its with her fingerprints, in a timeline I titled "When Margaret Went Full Dictator." The detective chuckled at the acoustic dominance audio, admitting he'd never heard anything like it in 20 years. Margaret was charged with vandalism, trespassing, impersonating a peace officer, harassment, and, the ultimate irony, multiple violations of her own noise ordinances. At the next HOA meeting, I played her whispered confession on portable speakers for 70 stunned neighbors. One woman spat Chardonnay out her nose. Another cried laughing. Margaret's husband stood silently, then left the room. Local news picked it up. Neighborhood enforcer busted by her own sound trap. Margaret's mugshot, vest and all, went viral. She claimed the footage was doctored. Her lawyer dropped her. At arraignment, she kept interrupting the judge with HOA bylaws until he threatened contempt. The trial was swift, guilty on all counts. Her sentence? 200 hours of community service scrubbing graffiti, $11,000 restitution for my Porsche, and 2 years of probation. Most poetic of all, a permanent ban on holding any HOA role in the county and a restraining order keeping me 500 feet from her in my car. When the judge confirmed she could never patrol again, Margaret broke down sobbing, begging for her vest back. But it was over. Brookpine Hollow finally knew peace, and Margaret Thorndale's reign of neon orange terror was finished.